Hey family, today we're going to talk about Ephesians 2:15. Now this is a famous verse for Christians, especially in what they like to use against Sabbath keepers. They use this verse to say that we no longer have to keep the Sabbath because of what this verse says. So let's read this verse really quick. Ephesians 2:15. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of the commandments contained in ordinances, for to make himself of twain one new man, so making peace, that he might reconcile both unto God, one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. So this is a verse that the Christians like to use to say, we no longer got to keep the Sabbath, we no longer got to keep the Ten Commandments because Jesus Christ has abolished the law of the commandments. And if you do a surface reading of this word, it may look like Jesus Christ has abolished the commandments. But the Bible doesn't say to surface read the Bible. It says to search the scriptures. So let's do a little searching. It says specifically, because Paul is being specific in the law that he is talking about. It says specifically, the law that contain ordinances. So my question to you is, which one of the Ten Commandments contain ordinances? I'm going to repeat that because this is key and this is vital. Which one of the Ten Commandments contain ordinances? So what is an ordinance? Well, let's take a look to see what is an ordinance. An ordinance in the original Greek means dogma. And it means a law, civil, a decree, a public decree. So now that we know that ordinance means a civil law, let's go back and read. It says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law contained in the civil law, even the law of the commandments contained in the civil law. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Having abolished the law of commandments contained in the civil law. Does that sound like the Ten Commandments? Of course not. None of the Ten Commandments are civil laws, they're moral laws. Now, where did the ordinance come from? Well, the ordinance came from a little bit of history. The Jews, when they became a nation, and God made them a nation, wanted them to preach the message to the world, which they didn't. They needed laws to govern that nation. And those laws wasn't just the Ten Commandments. Those laws were also the civil laws, which were the ordinances that were in the book of the law of Moses, which told them what to do. I'll give you an example. One of the ordinances was if you have one or two or three witnesses, bring it to court, and that person must believe. Now the Ten Commandments are the moral laws. They tell you how and what to do morally. They tell you how to love God and how to love your neighbor, the two greatest commandments. So, unfortunately, Christians like to do a surface reading of the Bible. When they read this, the law of the commandments containing the ordinances, they say, oh my God, the Seventh-day Adventists are wrong. But in all reality, they're not wrong. And we're not here to say who's right and who's wrong. But anyone who keeps the law is not wrong. Because here in Ephesians, it's not proof for a person not to keep the Ten Commandments or the Sabbath, because it says that he abolished the law of the commandment contained in dogma, contained with the civil law. So I hope this helps people to understand that when you read the Bible, you're not just supposed to read the Bible as on the surface, or you're not just supposed to go to Google and ask Google what it says. You're supposed to open up the Bible and read it for yourself. And I'm sorry to tell Christians, but you do have to keep the Ten Commandments and the Sabbath because it still stands. This is not enough proof. What happens now that you heard this message? You have to prepare. There is no more time. Jesus Christ is soon to return. And when he returns, he's coming to pick up his children. And he's going to destroy everyone else. And I'm telling you this because this is the final warning. Just like Noah preached, get into the ark. This is the preaching of get into the ark once again. Jesus Christ is soon to return. Give your heart to him every day and live according to his word.